So if we're being honest with ourselves, Dr. Britt Baker really overachieved in All Elite Wrestling. She really had no business as a top star. It's just that Tony Khan had nobody else better at the time when it was happening. Smash the like button if you agree.
So I'm hearing that Britt Baker is done with All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. I'm hearing that Con Man is done with Dr. Britt Baker. But I was the first one to tell you that in terms of she is a year one OG. I made a video saying that Con Man is done pushing people from year one. I'm talking about the female division side of All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. He don't push Rosa. He don't push Dr. Britt Baker. He don't push those year one OGs because now he has Sasha Banks. He has Big Booty Timeless Toni Storm. Con Man has signed a lot of talented female performers, and they are super thick and hot. So there's no place for Dr. Britt Baker in this division and company. So a lot of people are saying that Britt Baker might go to the World Wrestling Federation, and I'm like, man, why would you say that? How? Where is your evidence? She's not going there. I don't see it. I would be shocked if Triple H signs Dr. Britt Baker. That would be a bad move because I see zero difference between Emma and Dr. Britt Baker. Where would Britt Baker fit in? She will not fit in this company. Maybe NXT. Maybe Britt could be a job girl down in NXT. But hold on. If she can't make TV on Dynamite, bro, she's not on TV because Con Man is no longer a fan of Dr. Britt Baker. He has better females on this roster. He has super thick Anna Jay. He has super thick Willow Nightingale. Also, super thick Chris Ashlander. He has better females to work with. Dr. Britt Baker is a NXT washout. Her last match was against Shayna Baszler. That was her last match when she was in NXT. So in hindsight, Tony Con Man was pushing a NXT jobber. Literally, I'm not just saying it. Dr. Britt Baker was a jobber. Triple H signed Dr. Britt Baker. Triple H had no plans for her. Dr. Britt Baker was a jobber. Her last match, she was a jobber for Shayna Baszler. So yes, Con Man was pushing a jobber in year one in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. I will make this comparison. This is like, okay, her push came from the fact that it was year one. Okay, let's compare that to the Texans in year one. That was an expansion team. All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling, that was an expansion team in year one. You need all the talent you can get from any team. That was year one of All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. So they were scraping at the bottom of the barrel. So they signed Dr. Britt Baker because there was nobody left that was talented at that time. Tony Khan was signing anybody that has some kind of talent until he was ready to sign bigger talent. So let's praise Dr. Britt Baker for putting All Elite Wrestling on the map. She was a bridge, but that's it. Dr. Britt Baker was a bridge. That's about it. Until Con Man found Sasha Banks, Toni Storm, super thick Chris Ashlander, girls like that. She was nothing more than a bridge. Y'all gotta calm down, man. Dr. Britt Baker was never a star. The only reason she was pushed as a star was because that was year one of All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. There was nobody left that was talented on the free agent market. So Tony Khan had to work with what he was given at that time. There was no talent back in 2020, 2019. They were all in NXT. So Con Man, he was signing indie jobbers. They were pushing Marco Stunt. They were pushing Joey Janela. Hold on. Last time I checked, they booked Dean Ambrose versus Joey Janela. Wow, that did not age well. It did not. Dean Ambrose is a big time star, and he wrestled against Joey Janela. That's what I mean. Year one was awful for All Elite Wrestling. Her being pushed is the equivalent of a brand new sports team pushing bench players until they are ready to draft bigger stars. bigger name free agents, right? This is year one of the Houston Texans. This is year one of the Charlotte Bobcats. That's who All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling was at that time. So no, Dr. Britt Baker was never a star. She was not supposed to be a star. She was a bridge until Con Man was ready to sign bigger name free agents like a Toni Storm, like a Chris Ashlander, girls like that, Jade Cargill, Tony Khan. He used Britt Baker to help build the women's division, but she was never going to be the face of the women's division. So how come Con Man has turned on Dr. Britt Baker? Because I'm hearing she is a backstage problem. I'm like, hold on. How do you have a Charlotte Flair attitude with half the talent and not the resume? That's the main issue here. Her ego is through the roof. Based on year one, year two of All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling, she thinks she was that damn good, but she was not. Dr. Britt Baker was at the right place at the right time when there was no other better options. She was the best option, and that's sad. That's how weak the women's division was. In fact, people felt like it was the weakest division in all of fake pro wrestling. I'm talking about year 2019, 2020, etc. So the moment Tony Khan signed bigger talent, hotter women, thicker women, we never saw Britt Baker ever again. She became a superstar backstage in catering. He never used her. For the last 2 years, he hardly ever used Britt Baker because Con Man was signing better talent that was hotter, more thicker, sexier. Who needs Britt Baker? Now, it makes no sense for her to go to the World Wrestling Federation. Are you crazy? There's no difference between her and Emma. No difference. What is her gimmick? Oh, I'm a dentist. Okay, so who cares? That's old now. Move on. So what is she going to bring to a SmackDown, a Raw? Not even NXT. By the way, have you seen NXT? They have a better female division compared to the men on that show. So where is Britt going to fit in? But it makes no sense for her to go to the World Wrestling Federation. What is she going to bring? If she brings nothing to the table in All Elite Wrestling, what makes you think she's going to make an impact on Raw or SmackDown? What is the difference between Indy Hartwell compared to Dr. Britt Baker? There's no difference. Let's say Indy Hartwell was around during year one of All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. Guess what? Most likely, she would have been a face of that division. That's what I mean. There's levels. She would have been on that level. There was nobody left on the indies that had talent. So Con Man signed Britt Baker. That's like signing Indy Hartwell. Like, yes, I'm going to push Baker until I find better talent. Then once I do, I have no use for Britt Baker. So to me, it feels like Baker had her time in the sun. And for some strange reason, she thinks she is a star. No, you are not a star. You were used as a bridge until Con Man was ready to sign better, sexier, thicker talent. Once again, you people are crazy, right? You are delusional. If you think she should be in the World Wrestling Federation doing what? A jobber? Yes. She could be a job girl, but that's about it. She brings nothing. She adds nothing to the table. I'm like, listen, you better make well with Con Man because he's your best bet. He's your best option. You better be on his good side. Triple H, he only signs stars like a Jade Cargill, like a Chris Ashlander, like a Stephanie V, like a Julia. Girls like that. Main eventers. Dr. Britt Baker is not a main eventer. She is a jobber. Dr. Baker has no other options besides getting on Con Man's good side, or, my opinion, she needs to go to WOW Wrestling. That's her best bet. She needs to go to WOW Wrestling or go to Stardom. But not TNA, not NXT, not the World Wrestling Federation. She don't fit. She needs to go to WOW Wrestling. First off, she is not CM Junk. At least CM Junk was drawing money. Now, in hindsight, was CM Junk a backstage problem in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling? I'm gonna say no. I think I was overreacting. I don't think CM Junk was a huge backstage problem in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. That roster is filled with cocky, arrogant egomaniacs that don't want advice from veterans. So I don't think that CM Junk was a backstage problem. In hindsight, CM Junk has not caused any backstage problems in the World Wrestling Federation since returning. But how come in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling, he had tons of issues backstage, but since then, he has none? So that might be an issue in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. They have backstage problems with young guys that are cocky, arrogant, that don't want advice. It feels like CM Junk was only trying to help All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. I'm hearing that Dr. Baker is a backstage problem. I heard that everybody hates her on that roster, and I heard that they don't want her back. That's heat. That's bad heat. Nobody said that they want CM Junk gone. For the last 4 years, I'm hearing that all the women on that roster, they don't like her and they don't want her back. I heard this woman has problems with every woman on that roster. That's not CM Junk. That's bad. You don't want that kind of rep where you are labeled difficult to work with. You don't want that label, especially if you ain't no draw. You ain't no draw. So you can't be a backstage problem like you are CM Junk. At least CM Junk was drawing money. He was making con man money. And I feel like everybody on that roster was jealous of the power that CM Junk had. I think that's where the main issue comes from. The Bucks did not like him because CM Junk had more power than them at that time. I truly believe that's where all the heat came from for CM Junk. I will say the first 2 years of All Elite Wrestling, the fame went to the head of Britt Baker. She thought she was Becky Lynch. She thought she was on the level of Flair. She thought she was Bayley. She thought she was a star like them. She thought she was on the level of the 4 horsewomen. That's what she thought, based on the push that Con Man gave her. But she did not realize that the only reason you got that push because Con Man had nobody else. So he used you. He used you until he found better talent. Tony Khan was pushing a washout from the black and gold NXT who was a jobber. That's who Con Man was pushing at that time. And the fact that she ruined her friendship with Jamie Hayter, that's a red flag. So why would Triple H sign her? Triple H has the best female division in the whole entire business. He don't need her. She is not Penta. She is not Ray Phoenix. She is not Powerhouse Hobbs. She is not Jake Cargill. She is not Wardlow. First off, you people are delusional. She was never a star. And the fact that she ruined the life of Adam Coleslaw, that's a red flag right there. If it wasn't for Dr. Britt Baker, Adam Coleslaw would be the manager for Keith Lee as we speak on the main roster. That's facts. He said it. He said that he left for All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling so he could be close with Britt Baker. That's why Adam Coleslaw left. So yes, in hindsight, she ruined the life of Adam Coleslaw. He will never be a main eventer ever again because Adam Coleslaw got exposed ever since he stepped foot in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. He will never be a main eventer or a star ever again. So let's recap. What should be Baker's next move? She has maybe 2 options. Either get on the good side of Con Man or go to Wild Wrestling because Baker has no business in the World Wrestling Federation, and that is facts on facts. What is my grade for Britt Baker as an overall talent? I will give her a 5 out of 10. A 5 out of 10 should not be in the World Wrestling Federation. A 5 out of 10, that's called Wow Wrestling. Like I said, I don't see a huge drop-off between Emma versus Britt Baker. I see no drop-off. There's no difference between Emma and Dr. Britt Baker. So she has no place on SmackDown, just like Emma. Triple H had no use for Emma. That's why Emma got released. because there's no place for her. Just like Britt Baker, if Baker was on SmackDown or Raw, there's no place for her.